Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain what to do if someone tells you they are transgender. If someone you know tells you they are transgender, you will need to personally adapt to the news to help them feel accepted. Here is some advice on what you should do and what you should avoid saying. The first thing is that personal identity is their own decision. If someone tells you that they are he, she or a they, use that pronoun. Some people might even refer to themselves as it, but definitely avoid using this unless they have asked you to. You do not decide a person's identity. If they do, it's because it's their right, and because they're the only people that can truly tell you if they are transgender or not, so you have to refer them to the way that they like. And if you're unsure what to refer them as, just ask. One thing important to remember is to be careful when talking about the past. When you're referring to things in the past, never say things like when you were, like that gender, or born a man or woman. Most transgender people feel like they have always been the gender they come out to you as, but needed to come to terms with it in their own way. Instead, you can refer to the past without referencing gender. For example, say last year, or when you were a child. You should also not be afraid to ask questions, but be careful as everyone is different, so some people won't want to talk about it. The worst thing you can do is be awkward about it, so just ask them if they want to talk about it. But at the same time, don't ask questions that would be strange to a cisgender person. Transgender people and cisgender people should be treated the same, so don't start conversations about their body, for example, that wouldn't be normal to discuss to your cisgender friends. Never call out a transgender person for their behaviour which isn't stereotypical for their identified gender. For example, if a trans woman friend decides she feels more comfortable in trousers sometimes. Gender identity is much more than just the things people do and the way they dress. But it's not uncommon for transgender people to feel pressured into following stereotypes to prove themselves to their friends. This one should be obvious, but never out someone unless they have made it clear that they are openly transgender. It is up to the individual to decide when they are comfortable coming out to people, and it is possible for them to be out to some people but not others. So don't just assume that because they come up to you, that it's a free pass to tell everyone else. Leon? Another thing, it is okay to make mistakes, but it is important that you try your best to respect the person's identity. If you know them for a long time, you will likely have a lot of habits to break, including a change of name and pronouns. Just remember that as long as you're trying, transgender people normally don't mind. Now, about cross-dressing. A cross-dresser is just someone who dresses in clothes stereotypical associated with the opposite gender. This means that cross-dressing does not imply anything about a person's gender identity. Something that is very important is to get the terms right. Try to avoid the term transvestite, as it is not known by many people what it means. Technically, it just means a heterosexual male who traditionally wears feminine clothing. The problem with that label is that it has been used often to associate cross-dressing with sexual arousal. Your sex is what your body physically is, or gender refers to a person's identity. It is fairly common for a person's gender to match their sex, just like for cisgender people, but the two things are otherwise completely unrelated. Genderqueer is a term used that covers people that don't fit into a stereotypical gender binary. Transgender is someone who identifies with a gender that they weren't assigned at birth, and transsexual is someone who has physically changed their sex. Finally, if you see someone out in public and you can't figure out what their gender is, don't worry about it.